Welcome to another Marty's Minute Menitations. I'm Marty, and this is our space, men. This is our space to meditate, to reflect on what it's like to be a man in the modern age, how to be better men, how to help lift men up out of the muck of existence. Because my goodness, it's pretty mucky down here, you know? Marty feels his boots sinking into the muck all the time. Maybe you feel the same way, men out there. Today, Marty wants to talk about something very delicate to men. Penis. Marty has an ongoing series about it. Marty likes to talk about it. It's been a long time. This will be Marty's first YouTube video on it. The penis. But he wants to talk about something that's very near and dear to our hearts. Something very near and dear to our bodies as well. And it's the penis, our lingam, our manhood, the Vienna sausage, the ding dong, the Johnson, the wing wang, the langer, daddy's dingo, candy yams. You know, it's got a lot of names to it. And Marty thinks sometimes it's fun to, poke fun at the penis. But, sometimes we have to take it seriously, okay? Because it is poetry between our legs. And men, maybe we need to start seeing it that way. And that's what this episode's about. But before Marty goes on, Marty wants to remind you, be sure to like this video. It helps Marty get his word out. This pesky algorithm tries to stomp down on the word of Marty and therefore the word of men. That's right, Marty's trying to help men out there be better, to find the poetry and the spirit in themselves. Be a martyr for manhood and help get the word of Marty out there by liking this video. Subscribe to Marty's channel if you're interested in more musings on manhood. If you want more content out there, Marty releases YouTube shorts almost every day. Marty's got a TikTok channel, an Instagram account. All those links will be in the description. Also, if you want to support Marty, become a monthly donor on Patreon. $3 a month, that's all Marty asks. If you don't like a monthly commitment, that's okay. Marty understands. That's why he has a PayPal account and a Buy Me a Coffee account, so you can make a one-time donation. All those links will be in the description. For all you ladies who say you want better men, well, here's your opportunity. Put your money where your mouth is, and put the money into Marty's account, so that Marty could take the words from his mouth into the ears of men, right? Marty doesn't really understand that phrase means, right? Put your money where your mouth is. If you put money where your mouth is, Marty thinks that's pretty gross, right? A lot of people have touched that money, and a lot of people don't even use bills anymore these days, right? Because the government wants to control our money, so they just do it digitally, so that, if they don't like you, they could just turn off your bank account. So then it's like, oh, well, you shouldn't have said those things online, right? You shouldn't believe what you believe. You shouldn't speak your mind and feel free. You shouldn't have, done this or done that, because you aren't really free in this country. And Marty's saying it, and this is why YouTube tries to silence Marty, so like that video. Now, let's talk about the poetry between our legs, our manhoods, as it were. Marty just said a moment ago, we love to joke about our lingams, right? We like to have funny names for our manhoods. But it is a very serious thing that hangs between our legs. That thing, that power source, right? It's an energy source. And when we laugh at it, when we make jokes about it, the Vienna sausage, well, then we're not able to take it seriously. And then we're not able to take our manhood seriously. Manhood is just a big joke these days. Daddy's dingo, right? We're either toxic or we're big funny joke like Homer Simpson, right? Or Peter Griffin. Right, all those cartoon characters that make a mockery of manhood. That's right, Marty's saying it. They make a mockery of manhood. And that's not what true men are, okay? That's not what true men are, at least not in Marty's eyes. So this is the penis part 4. Marty's spoken about the penis on 3 separate occasions, okay? Marty likes to sprinkle a little bit of penis throughout his musings on manhood. And it's a very important topic because we, as men, are very close to our penis. It is a very important part of who we are. And to deny that is to deny our manhood. That's right. But why would we separate ourselves from our penises these days? Why would we not want to associate ourselves with our penis? Why would we make a mockery of our penis? Candy yams. Why would we point at penises and laugh? Like, ha 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 ha, look at that penis. Ha ha, penises are so funny. They look like this or that. Oh my gosh, they're just a big joke. A woman's yoni, her vagina, is something beautiful to society, right? It's a flower, it's a butterfly, right? It's this profound, wonderful thing. It's a gateway, a portal into another dimension. But the penis is just some hanging sausage, right? We don't give it the due respect that it's due. Well, I guess when I say due respect, I don't need to add another due in there, right? The due respect that it's... See, it seems like I need to add another phrase in there, okay? You can't just say the due respect, right? Well, give it its due respect? Why don't we give the penis its due respect? Why don't we? Because society wants us to hate our penis. They want us to either see it as some big joke or some big threat. They want us to see it as a weapon, something dangerous, as something connected to the patriarchy, right? A sword of the patriarchy. Because men are seen as these big warriors. We always have to have a weapon on us, right? And what weapon do we have? The sword of the patriarchy that hangs between our legs. There's no way that we can't be seen as a threat because we always have a sword on us. It's sharp. It's ready to be drawn at any moment. And Marty means this in a metaphorical sense as well. Obviously, Marty knows that the penis is not a literal sword. There's lots of phrases out there that are funny and poke fun at it, like, sword play or whatefor. For those of you that don't know what that means, it's when two men, right, reveal their penises and play with their penises like they're swords, right? And they clash swords, right? Which we shouldn't judge men for doing, because very much like children like to play with fake swords, right? Maybe grown men can feel like they should be free to play with their swords in that way, and it doesn't make them homosexuals, right? Not that there's anything wrong with that either, but men should be allowed to play with their penises however they want to, in conjunction. Maybe you have a friend and you like to do that, and it doesn't mean anything sexual, okay? Doesn't mean anything. Not that Marty's ever done that. Marty has never done that. He wants to clarify that. But if he did, he shouldn't feel judgment about it, and he shouldn't be ashamed of himself for doing it. If he did it, which he didn't. Marty wants to acknowledge that he didn't. But if he did, he shouldn't feel ashamed of it, because it's just men playing around and having a good time and using their bodies for fun. That's Marty's opinion on it. Maybe it could be something meaningful. Maybe it could be something fun and exciting instead of something, looked down on or laughed at, okay? Marty believes that our penises can be used for play. Marty used to use his penis as a punching bag sometimes. It's fun to punch your penis around, like when it gets hard and stiff, right? Marty's going a little too far here. Marty acknowledges that even that is a little bit funny, okay? Marty looks back on that moment, right, when he used to use his penis as a punching bag, and he looks back on that and he realizes it was kind of a funny thing to do, okay? Marty realizes the humility in that and the humor in that, and maybe you should too. But men, how do you see your penis? How do you see your manhood these days? Do you see it as the sword of the patriarchy, or do you see it as the pen of the patriarchy? And in that term, Marty says the patriarchy in a positive way. What's wrong with men leading the way? What's wrong with men taking charge here and there? As long as it's with the pen, as long as it's in a way that creates instead of destroys. Marty thinks that when people talk ill of the patriarchy, what they see is the sword of the patriarchy leading the way, chopping down the trees, stabbing people, drawing the blood of humanity instead of drawing the beautiful images with the pen of the patriarchy. When the patriarchy is a source of creation, that's not a negative thing. Marty wants to acknowledge that. But a lot of ladies out there want to see the patriarchy as something negative no matter what. Well, that's a shame, because the patriarchy is just as capable of creating as it is of destroying. But we look at the sword of the patriarchy as the only thing that men have. Does that mean that every man is a threat? And does that mean the only reason a man is a threat is because of his manhood? If a man didn't have that sword hanging, ready to be drawn, would a man be a threat all the time? It's a big question. Marty's asking you that. Does that mean that a trans woman that doesn't have bottom surgery is a threat because they have that sword of the patriarchy between their legs? Maybe that's why women are threatened by trans women entering their space, because they just walk in with that sword of the patriarchy swinging around. Who knows? Maybe they'll draw it. Maybe it'll become something dangerous. Don't cancel Marty for saying these things, okay? Marty's just making an observation. Marty acknowledges that, trans women have to use the bathroom and should be able to use the bathroom where they feel safe and secure. But Marty still has to acknowledge those trans women who still have the sword of the patriarchy between your thighs, that's still a threat to women. Well, Marty, I'm pretty offended that you're not calling trans women women and just calling women women instead of cis women. Well, Marty doesn't want to erase the identity of trans women by calling them women. That's a pretty easy way to erase the identity of both trans women and women. If we call trans women women, then we're not calling trans women, which is what they are. And then when you call just trans women women, that means you're erasing the identity of trans women because you're not calling trans women, which is what they are. It's almost like you're ashamed of being a trans woman, so you want to be called a woman. So you trans women who want to be called women, stop with your transphobia. Okay? Because you wanting to be called a woman means that you are transphobic to yourself and are afraid to be just called a trans woman. Now, don't cancel Marty for saying these things. Marty doesn't know a lot about, trans identity or the books or the research that surrounds it, but Marty uses his logic and his mind and starts to think for himself in order to understand what that means. You still have that sword of the patriarchy between your legs, and that's okay. It's okay to have the sword of the patriarchy between your legs. The sword is a beautiful, wonderful thing. It's been crafted, right? Forged in fires over centuries, millennia. Marty thinks that you trans women should be very proud to have that sword of the patriarchy, just like men should be proud to have that sword of the patriarchy between their legs. Just like men should be proud to have that manhood between their legs. If you're a trans woman and you still have the sword of the patriarchy between your legs, would you still call it your manhood? If you are a trans woman, then it would no longer be your manhood, would it? It would then transition with you. We love to use these words and phrases, and we don't really know what it means, and then people kind of make it up, and then they expect other people to just hop on board to how they make it up. Everyone has their own dictionary these days, and I think Webster intended for the dictionary to be used in a universal way. Don't cancel Marty, okay? Marty is not a transphobe. He just has a lot of questions, and he sees things in a certain way and wants to communicate it. This is Marty's truth. Don't get mad at Marty because he's speaking his truth. This is the way he sees the world. And Marty doesn't want to condone any kind of violence, any kind of hatred towards these individuals. But he thinks that if you're going to force men to deal with the fact that they are part of this patriarchy, with the sword of the patriarchy between their thighs, then maybe everybody else should actually acknowledge their presence and participation in this patriarchy. That's right. And maybe us men should be offended. That's right. Marty's going to say it. Us men should be offended by the fact that trans women have appropriated our penises. We had the penis first, okay? We had the sword first. When you appropriate the penis and you take it and you say that it's yours, you don't give credit to those who had it first. Sorry, Marty went off the rails a little bit there. Maybe Marty's just a little bit jealous. That's right, Marty's admitting it. Maybe Marty's a little bit jealous of trans women who still have their womanhood, because they're allowed to love their womanhood. They're allowed to love their lingam or their yoni or their female lingam, however you want to identify it. They're allowed to love and respect and show off their lingam. But men are still forced to hate their lingam, to feel ashamed of it, to feel like it's just something separate from their body, not a part of their soul and their spirit. So yeah, Marty's a little jealous. So Marty apologizes to the trans women out there. He apologizes. Marty wishes that men were allowed to be offended by the fact that women are threatened by their penis, the same way that trans women are allowed to be offended when a woman is threatened by their penis. Why aren't men allowed to feel that same degree of offense? It makes men hate their penises. It makes men not love their penises, not see the soul and the power in it. When you're constantly threatened by a penis, well, we're going to be constantly seeing it as a sword, seeing it as a threat, instead of seeing it as the potential it could be, to see it as the pen of the patriarchy, the thing that creates around us. But that means men, we need to take a hold of our sword. We need to see it as something beautiful, powerful, something that takes responsibility. We must wield this weapon with integrity, respect, and an understanding that women can see it as a threat, because men have misused this weapon, have used it for violence, for hate. But don't allow that from yourself. We are powerful men. We have the strength to wield this weapon with respect, with love. Marty means that. Marty truly means that. Marty knows that sometimes he can come off as some big joke, the wing wang. But that's what Marty means. So men, take a moment to look at your lingam, to look at that sword of the patriarchy and turn it into a pen. Harness that energy, that spiritual power for good, for creation. Don't allow your manhood to be the sword of patriarchy that cuts down women. Love your lingam. Love your body. Know that it is a very powerful and wonderful thing. And with great power comes great responsibility. Thank you for joining me for this quick little meditation about the penis. for the penis part 4. Once again, if you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, become a martyr for manhood, donate, support Marty through his Patreon, Buy Me a Coffee, PayPal account. All those links will be in the description. And until next time, I'll be here, waiting, ready to meditate.